Hi, thanks for joining me today. Do you feel as though you should love your stepchildren, but you're finding it really difficult and you're having very mixed emotions inside? Subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell, and I'll let you know every time I post. You had thought that you would be able to love them, and your partner can assume or expect that you will. And your partner can also assume and expect, at the very least, you'll be the adult in the situation and show all the signs of love and happiness and togetherness that comes with being one family. What can often happen is that you really don't feel like that. You don't love your stepchildren. And you can feel bad about not loving them. You can almost feel as though you should love them. But you don't. But worse than that, their very presence can be difficult for you to have around. And sometimes you're really battling with unexpected emotions in yourself because you're wanting to be one thing and finding you're another. And actually, this whole thing has become difficult, very difficult, but also, you're almost ashamed of what you do feel. You've never felt this kind of antipathy to people, and you didn't expect it to happen now. Plus, they're in your house, they're in your space, they're here frequently, they're going to be here forever. What are you going to do? And I feel that a lot of the time, the expectation can be a bit of a problem. The expectation that things were going to be better than they actually are. And one of the things that I would recommend is that you stop trying to be something you're not. It's not as though you're kidding the children. The children will know that that there are things that you don't like, that you're off a bit, or you don't love them. They will know you don't love them. And is it not better to start from where you are than try and keep a falsehood alive? If you're finding it difficult to have the children in the house and you to be the way you thought you were going to be, do and behave the way you can. More honestly. You don't have to be rude or reject them or totally ignore them, but you'll find it better and easier to have conversations with them if you've admitted to yourself that you don't love them and you're finding this difficult. If you say to yourself, I should be loving them and everything should be like a happy family, then it can be really difficult to have a relationship with them. But because you don't feel like that. But if you feel, I don't care for them, they're here, I'll tolerate them, and you have conversations based on pragmatics, what needs to happen, they'll happen more naturally and more genuinely than if you try and be something you're not. Starting from where you are and how you feel is probably the most helpful way to start. Then nobody's trying to fool anybody else. And it can be totally satisfactory for you not to feel fantastically warm towards them and them towards you. The whole weekend can pass perfectly okay. Many days, many holidays, any time. If you're honest with each other, give each other space, don't feel as though you have to be something you're not, and gradually life will tick on. It's only through being honest with yourself that the relationship can possibly get better. Because how can it get better from if you're both, telling a lie? If you're trying to pretend you love them and they're trying to pretend they love you, and you don't. Further on from that journey is to admit that whilst you don't love them, you're tolerating them, and you can make life work by doing what you're doing. That's the next step. And then the next step is that you might find some things that you do like about them, or that things that you might have in common with them, or you might have a laugh about something together, or you might genuinely get on with something. But that's much more likely to happen from a position of honesty than anything else. Building a step family does take time, and there's no rushing it. I always think that you need to be sort of like at another stage of your life cycle for really the step family to have gelled. So if your stepchildren are very young, up to the age of 10, it probably will take until their teenage years, until you feel at home with them. Likewise, if they're teenagers now, it might take until they've left home and gone into their 20s for you to sort of appreciate each other and respect each other and trust each other and have a relationship. It does take a long, long time. But best of all, to start with honesty. And then at least you have an open and honest relationship as to one based on falsehood. Love does grow, and it is very, very possible to have a very lovely stepfamily, one in which you all love each other. But I think love comes first from things like respect and trust, and that grows gradually. And if you can have interactions that are based on that, then love can really grow. We run workshops, sessions, write booklets, have an email response service, and you can find links to our social media and website in the description box below.